Viewers and subscribers, it's another edition of the Coach's Desk with your host today, Davion Minze. And we have in studio today, Coach Davion Ferguson. And we'll be having a little chat with the coach and hear what he has to say, whatever is on his mind. You know what I mean? So before we jump into it, we're going to ask the viewers and subscribers just to comment down below in the comment section on your thoughts of what Coach Ferguson has to say today. Also, please remember to subscribe, share, and like the videos on the Coach's Desk. Coach Ferguson, welcome to the Coach's Desk.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. We appreciate you being here also. How are you doing, man?
Well, I'm good so far. The COVID is really causing a problem all over the world, but you have to stay strong, because at the end of the day, life is what matters. And once we have that, we have to give thanks. So I'm good.
Awesome. All right. So that tells me that you're doing whatever it takes to stay safe. All right. So let's jump into it. You're a coach, a football coach. What brought you into coaching?
I think that's one of the hardest questions I can be asked as a coach. But as most Jamaicans, we love the game of football. Some of us are blessed with the talent to play it at a high level. I don't think I'm blessed with the talent to play it at a very high level, and I recognize that very early. So from a very tender age, I played for my high school. Under 16, Manning's High School in Westmoreland. That's where I'm from. So I actually played for Manning's. Thereafter, I realized that there was not really a future for me within the game in terms of playing. So then I started to venture into coaching. So I started slowly, probably with some 9, 10-year-olds at the time. And I started to try to see how I can mold them. And then people always try to look on and really give you good commendation. But there was this individual in particular who was looking on that I did not know he was looking on. And he stopped one afternoon at the training session that I was having in the parking lot at Froome. And he said to me that, "Coach, you know that I've been watching you for a while now and I see that you have a passion for this thing, but you need some support." So he volunteered and offered me some support. And from there on in, I started to get the attention of people like Wendell Downswell in the parish, who is probably one of the most successful coaches that has passed through Jamaica. And then I started to work with Bengeleng, Boys Nichols, at Froome as his assistant. And from there on in, I just started to, fall in love with the game. And I believe that's how I become a coach.
Okay, good. And you were once or formerly the coach of the national under-17 team, right? How did that stint go?
Yes, I believe it was a very good stint. Vin Blaine, he's the director of football now in, I think it's the Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or the US Virgin Islands. And he's the one who basically drafted me in the program. So I was there by GC Foster doing my thing as a title at the time, and he said one time that he wanted me to come and be a guest coach. So I started to be a guest coach, and from there on in, I started to work with the grassroots of the national program. I started to go everywhere about the country. And then there came the under 15 girls, because those were who I started with first. And then from that stint, I got into the under 17 boys. But it was a really good experience. We fought at the last hurdle, never made it to the World Cup, but I believe that we had a very good campaign.
Okay, definitely. All right, Coach. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I often hear you say that Bertis Bell is your mentor. Is that true?
Well, he's one of them. He's one of them. He's somebody who I have a lot of respect for. As I mentioned earlier, Vin Blaine is probably one of the most important person on my journey thus far in terms of coaching. And the late Glenn Stan Hutchinson at GC Foster was, to me, like a father, like a mentor. And then you have other people who, I look to for guidance because as a coach, I never stop learning and I never tell myself that I know everything. So I'm always relaying and relying on other people to really try to help me along my journey. So I'd say that he's one of them. He's definitely one of them.
Good. And I heard you mention Mr. Hutchinson, one of the greats of GC Foster College. So may his soul rest in peace and life shine perpetually. All right. Now, how was your first season at Deep Dark Blues, Jamaica College?
As you know, I'm leaving from St. Diego.
Yeah.
I left from St. Diego and I went to Jamaica College. It was a good season in the end in terms of the overall result, which is being champions. As with any journey, it has its up and down. I believe it's the most organized and the most well-run program that I've been in since I've been in football. And this is no disrespect to the others that I've worked with. But in terms of what they have as a structure, it was really good. But I still went in and I saw glitches in the structure and I tried to make it better. And I believe that my greatest impact would not have been actually winning the Man Cup for me personally, but affecting or influence the structure that Jamaica College has and will have for years to come. So I believe it was a very good year. We had our ups and downs, but it was successful for us overall.
And was the Manning Cup your best achievement to date in football?
Title-wise, yes. Title-wise, yes. But in terms of how I rate success, I believe that I've had a greater success. I've had players that I started with in football at the parking lot in Frome, and they went on to actually make a World Cup squad. So I believe that in itself, Melvin Blair is the player in question. I believe that in itself is probably one of my greatest achievements to date.
Okay, fair enough.
Definitely, the Manning Cup as a title, definitely.
Yes, because of course you know that there are many variables that persons use to judge coaches, and having a title would be one of them. But that would be a great thing on your resume to have a title and a World Cup player. That's good. All right. Now, did Miguel Coley, the coach that you took over from, basically, his record, he has an impeccable record at Jamaica College. He's revered there at Jamaica College. You know, did that cause you to shake in your boots as a upcoming coach, so to speak, a newbie?
Well, if you look back, I did not immediately take over from him. I took over from Pierre. But I understand the question. In terms of
Yes,
Miguel and I, we go way back. And I remember we were in Barbados, I think, on some CONCACAF business. I think he and I was roommates on that business. And I think that was when I started to have ambition or an idea that I might actually be a part of the Jamaica College program. But in terms of how I grade myself, I look at the results of others definitely. But for me, I try to judge it on a different basis. What Miguel has done at Jamaica College and in schoolboy football is excellent. He has tremendous success in terms of, titles and stuff for Jamaica College. So his record is, as you mentioned, impeccable. And it's not something that I try to compare myself to, because what he has done is already done, and that's history. So for me, it's trying to write my own history while respecting the history of those who came before myself.
All right.
And try to leave a legacy for those who will come after me.
All right. You're basically setting your own path, trailblazing. All right.
Definitely.
Rumors have it that after your first season, you're no longer the head coach of Jamaica College. Is that rumor true?
Wow. Rumor has it that I'm no longer the head coach at Jamaica College. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm not aware. Maybe that's something that is in the works that I'm not aware of. But as far as I know, um, I'm actually not the head coach, but I'm the technical director for the program there. So maybe that's what the confusion is. But I don't know.
All right, so you supersede the head coach and technical director. All right, fair enough. All right, so that rumor has been dispelled. Technical director. All right. Now, coach, many persons would say that Jamaica College rode on some luck last season, even though they would have come out champions, because they would have lost some critical game. They wouldn't have won some games going into the semifinals and so forth. So, talk to us about what transpired for the season.
Well, I think the levels or the expectations are very high. And if you look at the statistics of last season, we lost one game in the entire competition leading into the final, which is the Manning Cup final. And that's the game against Stats at Stadium East. That's the only game we lost.
Yeah,
although we drew some games, that's the only game we lost. And I can't say certain things now, but that game was a game that we should not have lost. And we know exactly why we lost that game. And I believe in the final we came back and we actually fixed that game. But I believe our preparation over the entire season would have helped us. If you look at the amount of goals conceded, we're up there with any team in the competition. If you look at the amount of goals scored, we're up there with any team in the competition. So our records in terms of statistics can match anybody in the competition. The only result I believe that went against, as I mentioned before, is the result against Stats. And internally we knew what was happening. We knew why the result went that way. And I believe that we set it straight in the final. But
right. So,
as usual, you will always have doubters, you'll always have critics. And in this game, as a coach or in any public office that you give yourself up for service, you have to be ready to actually take on those types of criticism. So it's something that we relish. We hope that we are lucky for the next 20 years.
So it's a part of the seat of holding the office or the seat, so to speak.
Yeah, man, it comes with the territory.
Inevitable.
Definitely
inevitable. Yes. Now, how many of your starters would you retain coming this season?
Well, that's the problem now. It's hard for me to say how many of the starters because last year we had different teams because we had such a quality group that different things might cause us to change the team. So, for example, rotation, for example, injuries, for example, lack of form, for example, discipline. So, in total, we utilized 29 players last year. And from those 29 players that we would have utilized, I believe that we will have about 55-60% of that team back.
Okay. I thought you were going to say we have 50 players or 55 in trade. All right. Of course, we know that the corona virus is hitting or has hit this world like storm, right? Unexpectedly. Is it affecting your training or your preparation going into next season defending your title?
Well, it has affected everybody, especially the timeline of the preparation. At this point in the season, we would have actually been high advanced in our general preparation phase. But as I said before, it has affected the entire world. So it's not something that we can hide from. But what we're doing now, as we have done last year, we're focusing a lot on the mental aspect. We're focusing a lot on the tactical aspect in terms of trying to get players to understand the game, understand the game model that we're trying to put forward. And I believe that we have done some good work on that. So we have different sessions. And plus we have a trainer who is very active, very much involved. And while we cannot judge the level of the boys, I believe that all the boys thus far have been in some form of preparation. So should and when the gate is fly for us to resume normalcy in terms of training, I believe that we would have actually had some amount of work.
All right, cool. I noticed you made mention of your stats would have matched up with some of the top teams throughout the season. But for me, one thing I noticed about Jamaica College last season is that they didn't have that killer instinct in front of goal. Jamaica College was basically a team that would just write off their opponents easily. They score out of nothing, so to speak. They get a half a chance and they score. But I personally did not see that killer instinct from a Jamaica College last season. What was the cause of that, Coach?
Well, it can be anything. If as I said before, we scored 67 goals, and it's a lot of goals. But I think the killer instinct that was needed, especially in the latter part of the competitions, if you may, is what was lacking, and that can be various factors. I believe that we created enough chances. One of the things that we had an issue last year with is that who we believe that should have been the player to really take the mantle in terms of leading the team from a goal scoring standpoint, it never really materialized because with schoolboys you can never be sure. Your preparation is so important, and at the end of the day, you try to do everything to really match your game model in terms of what we want to achieve. So I believe we created enough chances, but I think actually having a person that would consistently put that ball in the back of the net is one reason. But also, if you look at, as I said, the 67 goals that we scored, they were more evenly distributed amongst probably 6 or 7 players within the team.
Right.
So that again can also be looked at as a positive. So instead of depending on this 1 or 2 people to really find that back of the net, we had goals coming in from even our defenders. But I would agree with you to an extent that we never had that person who was that potent in terms of trying to find that net with regularity.
Right, and I'm sure that you'd have made assessment of last season, and the work would be put in so that you could definitely get back to that state. I know that the preparations will be halted because of this virus, so probably your late start, when the season will start and so forth, can cause a lot of even mental. And you rightly said, most of what you're going to have to do for this coming season is the mental of your players, because this thing is crazy. It's a psychological thing and it will affect
Definitely.
them. But question, Coach, with all of that said, will you totally defend your title this year?
Well, I believe that once we have a competition and once we are re-entered in the competition, we have no choice in terms of trying to defend our title. Jamaica College is a team that always yearn for success and more success and more success. And I believe that we have the system in place, we have the structure in place that should make us competitive. Whether that will result in us actually being triumphant in terms of lifting the ultimate is only time can tell, but we're quietly confident that we are in very good stead going forward.
All right, Coach. Well said. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be on the coach's desk. But before we move on, any final words that you'd like to say before we close out this segment?
Well, as everybody is saying, is that what we have to do is to respect the authorities in terms of the measures that they have put in place. We see thus far where it has reached success. I think I was looking at the stats last night and I saw where we had 356 recoveries. So in total, I think we have 234 active cases. Mm-hmm. So I believe that we're heading into a very good direction. And all the things that we love, if we respect the protocols that are in place, I believe that before time, we will be back on the pitch and actually doing the stuff that we love.
All right, Coach. Thank you, man. Definitely, it was a pleasure having you here on the coach's desk, like I said before. And I just want to wish you all the best. If there's a season, I wish you all the best. And with you on your charges. And I definitely know that you seem to be a thinking coach. So we're expecting to see some difference in Jamaica College this year. All right? Thanks much.
Definitely, man. Thanks much. Thanks
Man,
for having me.
all right, cool.
Yeah, man. Good.